Somebody said, how does this keep happening? And my friend, it's a relatively simple answer. When the only punishment you know you're going to get is a slap on the wrist, it really doesn't deter you from making a bad decision. Some dude said the only way to fix this is to fire Kirby and bring in Mike Gundy. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope all of you are having a great Friday. Hope all of you had a great week. If not, hope this video can cap it off and make it a little bit better. And man, oh man, we got an intriguing situation to talk about and get into. A lot of people out here in the college football world, they've stated this is a pretty big deal, but to me, my immediate reaction to this is, yeah, you could argue whether or not you think it is a big deal, but I think it's a concerning matter at that. This isn't Georgia and Kirby Smart's first rodeo with this incident. No. They have a real deal serious problem. And I'm extremely curious. I want to see what you guys got to say in the comment section. I don't know if this is a culture issue. Could you chalk it up to a coincidence? I don't know what's going on. Also had somebody send this to me on Twitter, and it states, which team is this? And it's got the huge bar. Fills their stadium every Saturday, and then the low bar, relevance in modern football. I don't even know why this is a tweet, because we know which team this is, and the bars are fitting because they have the color red. It's Nebraska. What is Nebraska at now? I have no idea. They've sold out so many games in a row, and yet they just disappoint their fans year after year after year. Moral of the story is they're not relevant, and we know how this goes. Nebraska fans are going to hype up this season, and then they're going to lose a couple games, and they're going to talk about how good they're going to be next year. Same old, do want to talk about that, but let's get back on track with Georgia and what's going on there. So for those of you that did not hear the news, 2 Georgia players were arrested for, guess what? Racing and reckless driving. Even if you don't keep up with Georgia too much, you should be sitting here going, wait a minute, where have I seen this story before? It seems like we see this same story but with different players every couple of months for Georgia. The 2 guys that got arrested for this was a linebacker that goes by the name of Munden and an offensive tackle that goes by the name of Bo Hughley. Munden was arrested by Athens-Clarke County Police on charges of reckless driving and racing on highways and streets, while Hughley was arrested by UGA Police on charges of reckless driving and failure to maintain lanes / improper driving on road. The arrests were made regarding separate incidents, which if you gotta ask me, the fact they're separate makes it 2 times worse. But here's where things get comical. Take a listen to this. According to Clarke County jail log, Hughley was booked at 8:37 p.m. on Tuesday night and released at 10:08 p.m. that night. Munden, meanwhile, was booked at 11:05 p.m. on Wednesday night and released at 12:25 a.m. that night. Hughley and Munden were both released on bonds totaling, no, this isn't wrong, you see it, 26 buckaroos. I can't help but shake my head. Are you kidding me? I'm not saying I wish these guys would have got punished more, but $26, that's nothing. I gotta be honest with y'all. If this was just a one-time thing that happened in the off-season, I probably wouldn't even be making this video. And at first glance, I wasn't even going to talk about the situation. But recently, in the past 24 to 48 hours, it's been trending on Twitter, and I figured, hey, why not? I'll give my 2 cents. For those of you that don't know, Munden and Hughley are now the 4th Georgia players to be arrested this offseason. Remember, the new running back that came from Florida, Trevor Etienne, he was arrested on DUI charges. I think it was actually more than that. It was like reckless driving, DUI, but it goes on and on. You get the point. It had to do with operating a vehicle. To go on top of that, wide receiver that goes by the name of Sokovie White, he was arrested in May for same thing, reckless driving. So we have not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 Georgia players in this offseason alone that have been arrested for reckless driving. I'm not trying to be a smart aleck when I say this. Is this the new standard at Georgia? Is this what they're about to be known for? I love the Georgia fan base to death, and let me know in the comment section how you feel. But if I was a Georgia fan, I'd be embarrassed. I mean, seriously. Come on, man. What are we doing? 4 players arrested for reckless driving in one offseason? And here's the scary part about it, and I don't even want to think about it too much, is these are just the guys that have been caught. You have to assume that they're not the only ones doing this. There's no explanation for this. There's no excuse for it. I don't even know how you would defend this. I love Kirby Smart. He's a stand-up guy. I'm sure he's already spoken to his team about this and told them, hey, quit driving reckless and behave yourself off the field. But here's my thing, right? How many more times is Kirby Smart going to have to give these players the same speech before they finally listen and learn? Obviously, by getting in trouble and not listening to your head coach, that is the ultimate sign of disrespect. Do I think the players don't respect Kirby Smart? Absolutely not. They fear that man. But whatever tactic he's been doing with these guys, they either A, have not been getting the message, or B, they just don't care and they only care about themselves. Is this the end for Georgia? Is this a bad sign for the football team itself? No. They could lose 10 players, notable players at that, and they're still going to be fine. But when are we, the people, going to call an ace and a spade a spade? I hate to sound like a broken record player here, but 4 guys were arrested for reckless driving. 4. Let's check on this comment. Make high school kids millionaires, and if you punish them in any way for misbehavior, they can instantly transfer to the next place that will give them hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, to play against you. Has issues? Maybe. I don't know what they were trying to say at the end there. Has issue, whatever. You get the point. They are pretty much saying the state of college football, it's kind of whack because if you do punish a kid, he'll just up and leave. Some dude said the only way to fix this is to fire Kirby and bring in Mike Gundy. Yeah. That's crazy. I'm not taking the player's side here. I'm just trying to find answers to this. Is there potentially a scenario where the police in Athens, Georgia are targeting these players? I don't think that's ridiculous to say. I definitely think that could be a possibility. But even when I say that, it sounds like a flawed argument because like I stated a few minutes ago, for every guy you catch, there's probably 3 others you don't catch. Somebody said, how does this keep happening? And my friend, it's a relatively simple answer. When the only punishment you know you're going to get is a slap on the wrist, it really doesn't deter you from making a bad decision. I don't know what Kirby's going to do. I don't know as to when I'm making this video if he has punished him already or if he's going to punish him, but let's just say, hypothetically speaking for the sake of this video, he doesn't do anything. Well, what message does that send the player who got arrested? Internally, he's going to think, well, dang, I thought I made a mistake, but I guess it wasn't too big of a slip-up, a slipperooski, because I'm still going to be playing week 1. You want to know how to get to a man? There's 2 ways. Either A, take away something he loves, or B, mess with someone he loves. If you want to send a message to these players, you take away what they love, and we know what that is. It's football. Because when they're sitting on the sidelines for, let's just say you suspend them for 2 quarters, a half of football, the whole time they're going to be thinking about, man, I'm never going to mess up again because I want to play football, and there's no way I'm going to risk that. To go on top of that, you're not just sending a message to that player if you don't suspend them that they really didn't mess up too bad. You're sending a message to the rest of your team. You're now somewhat telling your team it's okay to make mistakes because you're not going to be punished for it. When you punish somebody, you're not doing it because you hate them. You're doing it because you hope they'll learn from there on out. I don't think Kirby's losing control of the locker room or losing control of his team because at the end of the day, he's not the one making these terrible decisions. But he's got to act on them. He's either got to do something to these young men that got in trouble recently or just stand up and say, you know what? From here on out, guys, if someone gets in trouble for reckless driving, a DUI, anything of that nature, you're getting suspended for X amount of time. That's the only way to solve this, and you better nip it in the butt right now because fortunately enough, we're in the off season, so it's not a big deal. But imagine it's week 4 in the middle of college football season and your star running back or star wide receiver gets caught reckless driving. You see what I'm saying? Then it's going to be headlines. Hopefully this is the last time we got a report on this involving a Georgia player. And look, let me say this before we end out the video. I get it. They're kids. They're young men. They're going to make mistakes. I've made many mistakes in my life, and I'm going to continue to make many more. So I'm not going to hold them to the fire too much. With that being said, for my young people out there, this advice really applies to anybody. Please make smart decisions in every aspect of your life. I hate to bring this up, but it's a good example. Look what happened with Henry Ruggs. One mistake cost him his entire life and career. And Henry Ruggs was a great and humble young man. You just don't want to end up like that. These Georgia guys that are getting in trouble left and right, they're playing with fire. Like my granddad always told me, you keep playing with fire, eventually you're going to get burnt. That's all I got for y'all. Let me know your thoughts on all this down below. But Romano.